Okay, this is a video for everyone who's trying to figure out how you can price land. So let's just say that you have a farm. Perfect little square piece. It's a farm, it's 100 acres, piece of land. Your client has this and you want to get it developed. And they're saying, well, what's the price per acre? So in Pittsburgh, that's going to range anywhere from 8 to 30,000 an acre, and there's a lot of variation. Why? Well, number one, you have yield, you have the schools in the area, and then you have the neighborhood. Where is this beautiful box located? That's going to determine greatly. Now, the other things, and probably most important, is the yield. Land is worth what it can produce. So when you're talking about land development, you're talking about two things. You have terrain and you have zoning. So zoning obviously is a governmental regulation, and it says, what can you do in this perfect 100 acres here? What can you put there? Can you put apartments? Can you put townhouses? Can you put single family homes? Can you only use it as a farm? That's going to greatly determine how much it's worth. Now, the other thing that we really get hit on in Western Pennsylvania is the terrain. We have very, very steep terrain here. So when you get this 100 acres, I've never ever seen 100 acres square that's perfect and 100% usable. You're going to generally have some areas over here and maybe down this way where it's too steep. You can't build. Very, very steep there. You can't build anything, can't put anything there. So that's gone. That takes away from the usable acreage. That hurts this number. Then you have things where that's maybe a stream. Now, of course, we don't want to build on the water or in the water, but there's another thing that happens. You have to stay 50 feet in general away from the stream. That's in general. That's not always true. Sometimes it can be more. They say this stream is high quality. Maybe you need to stay further away. Sometimes they say this is a minor stream. It's okay. You can go right near it. But in general, you have to plan for 50-foot buffer around a stream. That means not only can you not build a house there, but you can't grade. So if you are going to put your road in, you're going to come over here. You can't grade up to that stream and have dirt going into it and interfering with that 50-foot buffer. You have to stay completely out of it. That reduces the number of lots you have. Now keep in mind, when I put in the road that I just drew in there, I wish it were that easy in real life. You also have to do things like put in utilities. One of the really important ones for development is sewage, this green pipe. It determines a lot of what you can do. And then you like to have natural gas. You're gonna have to run that line in. Then of course, the people are gonna want water. You're gonna have to put water in. And then they're gonna want power and cable. So we're gonna put all those pipes in as well. And all of that costs money. Now, when we've come up with our price per acre here at 8 to 30,000 in my area in Pittsburgh, that's going to be based on how many lots I can get along that black street. And it's also going to be determined on the local schools. Am I meeting the zoning and the neighborhood? But now, we know the local schools, we know the neighborhood, we understand the terrain. How does the zoning affect it? Well, if the zoning says that I can have a highly dense grouping of homes along this street, the price that I have to pay as a developer to put in all this infrastructure can become less per linear foot versus what I would have to pay if I could put in less homes. So the more homes I can put in, the cheaper this infrastructure becomes. And if it's cheaper for the developer, it's cheaper for the builder, which means it's cheaper for the end user. So when you look around and you say, my God, all the houses are $600,000 or $700,000 to start for a new home. That's because the zoning is too restrictive, and this infrastructure costs entirely too much for the developer, and they pass it on to the builder, who then passes it on to the consumer. So this is kind of a very crude little sketch to show you kind of how you come up with basic pricing for a land development. Very, very small amount of that pricing is the actual price of the land. The lion's share of the price has to do with that infrastructure development. So this was kind of a quick down and dirty. If you have any questions, I'd love to go over this with you. DM me below. Thanks.